any more of your valuable time. All right, again, I'm Chris Bryan with Sagamore Home Mortgage. We're just going to go over some basics of email marketing, just a real quick, easy, free way for you to set up some emails, spend a couple hours in a month, and you know, I like to batch my operations. So batching is basically where you're just doing one thing and you're focusing on it for a couple hours, and you kind of knock it out for the entire month. So I'm, you know, I like to set up a few different emails that go out to everybody that we've got as realtor partners and whatnot, set them all up, just take a couple hours out of a Monday, set up all the emails, and then set them to send out, you know, the next Monday and the following Monday and the following Monday, that sort of thing. So this is a really great way for you to be able to do that. My favorite program to use is MailChimp. So it's free. I think you get like 2,000 contacts or something like that that you can utilize. It's extremely easy to use. Right whenever you get on the website, you'll see that they're kind of giving you an overview of one of their new mail templates, drag and drop programs that they've added. So this is, you know, this is one of the simplest systems I've found. I have seen a couple glitches here or there with it, so if you find you're having an issue with it, let me know and maybe we can walk through it together. But it's just a really easy way for you to do what Constant Contact pretty much will charge you for. Just a couple pieces of information: email, username, and password to get your account set up. You know, the only thing I can say is that I would love to set up an account, but since I've already got one, they're not going to let me go ahead and go through that account process. But I'll show you just about everything else. It's got really nice analytics built right into it, so you can kind of see, I don't have a ton of people on this account, but you can kind of see what has happened with your most recent emails. So you can track things by open rates, which most of you will be tracking those just because you want to see how many emails have been opened from the partners that you're sending them out to. You can also track, if you're going to start using emails and do a little bit more advanced, like sending them to another website, you can track how many emails were actually clicked through. So now you really know the engagement that you're getting with that person because they've read your content, they opened the content, they read the content, and then they went on and clicked through it. So we used this for the surveys. So we had you know, a few clicks from the surveys, and I know a lot of people did them from the earlier emails. But it's just a really good way for you to be able to get an idea of how many emails you've sent, how many people opened those emails, and that sort of thing. Again, one of the reasons that I really like this site. The first thing that you will want to do once you jump into here is you will want to, you're going to want to create your list of who you're going to send the emails to, obviously. So again, one of the best things about this is you're able to send the emails to a mass group of people. It looks like it's just coming from you and just to them. Let me show you kind of an example. One of the things I had, you know, seen earlier in the day and thought, you know, this is a good example of what you can do with a system like this, is this email that I had gotten from UWM. So basically, you know, they're sending out this email. It shows up in your email as kind of an HTML. It kind of shows up as a picture, basically, is what we're trying to accomplish. And it's just a really nice flyer ad style email that once it hits your box, I mean, I know all of you have seen these before. It hits your email, you see it, you get the gist of what it is. You may or may not actually go through and open it, depending on if you're using Outlook and you're kind of doing the preview pane. But basically, you've gotten in front of that person. You've told them a little bit, like we understand that, you know, UWM has a good jumbo product, so maybe I'll check that out next time I have a jumbo. So that's, you know, that's the whole idea of what we're trying to accomplish, is setting you up with the ability to stay top of mind with your agents and, you know, really be able to get the information out to them and just quickly get in front of them, let them know what you've got going on, and then move on. Again, you know, it's pretty much the freest advertising you can come across, so that's always my favorite thing. It's free is always good. Let me just check real quick to make sure we don't have any questions. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you will not have a list, and when you log into this the first time, MailChimp is going to walk you through a lot of the techniques here. They're going to say, hey, you need to get a list built up with your email list and whatnot. So it's going to, I mean, it'll take you step by step of what you want to do, and it's got a lot of videos that you can look at under their help section. It's got a lot of videos for you to watch and if you get stuck and you can't figure it out. But we'll just go ahead and set this up. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a Pensacola contacts. So these are realtor realtor contacts and Pensacola. So let's go ahead and say Pensacola realtor contacts. So you're really just wanting to make sure that you can tell. The list name is just, you know, remembering what you put into that list of contacts. So the default from name. So this is where, you know, your email will come from. Maybe, you know, maybe you send it from your Yahoo account. Who knows? But this is where you're really going to want to make sure that they know in the snapshot, who is this from. So this is from Sagamore Home Mortgage. And then, so this is another great feature. You can actually send this from one email and then have it reply to another email. So if I want to set up just, you know, an email that's going to catch all of these, I'll just call it catchall@sagamoremtg.com. Now, obviously, you have to have the email set up in order to do that. But this is a good way if you want to break apart your email addresses that you do have and say, well, I'm going to get all of my marketing replies in this one so that I can see them, you know, in real time, that sort of thing. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, most likely, most of you will just use that as your typical email address. And then default subject, let's go ahead and say reverse mortgages. And again, you know, it's going to kind of tell you things, so keep it relevant and non-spammy. There's actually a way for you later to go through and test your subject line to see if it's going to drop into someone's spam box. You know, it's always nice. Hopefully the people that you're sending them to already know you. And, you know, you do have the ability to get spam or to get flagged as spamming if you send this out to mass groups of people that you don't know and that aren't expecting you to email them. But realtors and people that you've worked with in the past typically aren't going to come up and say, hey, this guy's spamming you and that sort of thing. So this is, you know, the permission reminder is kind of something that you create that shows up at the bottom of the email. It's basically a way for you to tell the person why they're receiving this email. So if you're emailing to your realtor contacts, you can say, hey, you know, you've done business with, you know, in this case, it's your contacts from Avi Bastagian. So you've done business with Avi in the past. You know, this is a Sagamore Home Mortgage update, and we're hoping that you find what we sent you relevant and informative, that sort of thing. So it is going to make you put down your address there. You can go ahead and put down your actual office address for that. And then there's a whole lot of other things that you can do as far as if you want the person to be able to pick between HTML or plain text. I actually do not like people to choose plain text just because it can completely distort what you've sent to them. So, and then if you want the notifications to send to you directly, if you want to see how many people have subscribed, how many people have unsubscribed, that sort of thing. So we'll go ahead and save that. From there, what we need to do is upload some contacts, right? So there we go. So import contacts. Again, this site is really good for the person who doesn't have a ton of experience doing this sort of thing. It's just going to sit there and say, hey, this is what you've done. Now the next step is you got to get some contacts in there. So I'm actually going to copy and paste from Excel, and then I'll pull over to your screen what I have for the contacts. So once you can see the actual, obviously, okay, Don, what I would tell you to do is mute your computer speakers if you can, if you're still hearing me in stereo. Basically what you've got is you've dialed in, but your computer speakers are still putting out sound. So if you can go ahead and just turn off the speakers on your computer, and if anybody else has that problem, go ahead and just shut off your speakers. And then yes, Avi, I thought you would enjoy this example. So what you've done is you've got a list of, the best way to keep your contacts is just throw them into Excel. If you've got contacts in Outlook, email me later and I'll give you a step-by-step example of how to dump those into an Excel spreadsheet or how to use the actual upload tool on MailChimp to upload those straight from Outlook into the email platform. But in this case, let me just check to make sure we've got it. So what they want to do is this. They want email address, first name, and last name. All right, and you can actually customize that. I'm not going to go through that right now for you, but I'll go ahead and what I'll do is I'll just knock this out. So they want email address, first name, last name. Okay, so They're fine with you just doing this and just dragging it all the way down. Choose all the ones you want. I'm just going to go ahead and do a small portion because it will take a while for them to actually upload that. So you get it in the order that they want. Okay, so you get it in the order that they want. Again, here's how you know: email, first name, last name. So I put it into that order. I just put it down in here and I paste. And it's just going to go ahead and put that down there just like that for you. Now, if you're missing some of the things, like for instance, honestly, this should go ahead and even though it looks like it's wrong, it should go ahead and import correctly. But if you have problems, you may have to mess around with it a little bit here or there. But you see how that did that? It just completely popped it in there for us. We will want to go ahead and name the columns just so that if we want to, in the future, add their first names or last names into the body of email, we can do that. So here's the first name, and then here's the last name. Okay, so I guess I didn't edit this. All right, so we can see it. It looks pretty good here. Email, first name, last name. You can kind of scroll down through it. Well, once it dumps it in, you'll be able to see them all together. But you know, that's pretty easy. That's about as easy as it gets as far as uploading contacts. So it's going to go ahead, and it takes a little bit of time to do that. So we're just going to assume that it went through and imported all the contacts correctly. We're not actually going to send what we create here, so that won't be a big deal for us. But so once you've got your contacts in there, and again, you'll want to set up your you know, like we did, we set up the list. So you're going to want to set up your list based on who you're emailing. So you're going to want a Pensacola Realtor contacts if you're in Pensacola. You're going to want, you know, employees if you're emailing to employees. You may have builders that you want to email to, past clients that you want to email to. You don't want to merge all of those together because you want to be able to separate what you're sending to those different groups. So if you're looking at builders, you want to be able to send them things about builder, you know, things that builders would care about. If you're talking about recent clients or past clients, you want to be able to send them updates about refinance options and you know anything like that, or you know, reverse mortgages and stuff like that. So once you've got your list created, we'll just go back to the dashboard here. Always head back to the dashboard if you're confused where you're at and you need to try to start over again. So there's different types of campaigns. There's a regular campaign. You can do a plain text campaign if you think the people that you're emailing to aren't going to be able to handle an HTML coded email. And then these are a little bit more advanced. You know, the RSS, that's where somebody can subscribe to what you're doing, and then every time you send something out, it just pops into them. So we're going to go ahead and do a regular old campaign. Now, as you can see at the top, this is our progress bar, and it's going to say, hey, what are you trying to do here? So the first thing we want to do is fill out the recipient. Again, you hover over it, it's going to tell you exactly what you're looking for. So in this case, we're going to go for the Pensacola Realtor contact. Next step, setup. Name your campaign. If you want to reuse these campaigns going forward, you know, for example, whenever we were talking about the employee surveys, I was able to create an employee survey campaign, and then I could just come back in there, open back up that employee survey campaign, and then just hit resend, and it just resends it out very quickly. So we're going to go ahead and name this Avi's Emails. Again, this is what we set up earlier. The reverse mortgages is the email subject line. You're going to want this to be a little bit catchier. Creativity is huge here. You know, this is one of the things where if you're a creative person, you've just always wanted to be able to do this sort of thing, I think you're really going to love this. But you're going to want to put something, I mean, obviously the subject line is the first thing the person sees, and it kind of determines whether or not they're opening that email or not. So come up with something catchy. I'm going to leave it at reverse mortgages for now. When we were in here, let's see if I can get it to do it again. Here's where you can research subject lines. You know, it'll talk a little bit about advanced subject lines, how to utilize them, and then this is if you're kind of thinking about trying to see what you've used in the past. It'll bring up some of those. Oh, look, and it even says how many people opened it, which is awesome because a lot of this is testing, and a lot of this is just kind of trial and error. So if you find something that works a lot, that'll remind you that this one was an excellent one and people loved it. So again, this is where, you know, who did this email come from, who will they reply to, and all that sort of thing. You're actually, during the setup process of your account is when you're going to tell it what account you want it to send from, be it your Sagamore account, or maybe you want it to send from. There's all kinds of reasons that you might want to have it sent from a different account. If you're afraid that, you know, you may end up having too many people unsubscribe from the Sagamore account, who knows. But that whole process will actually be done during the initial setup. of during the initial setup of your MailChimp account. So I think we've got about what we need on this end here. Here's your merge tag, and if you click on that, it's going to walk you through how to use those. That's if you want to really personalize. I mean, you can send just a basic email to 150 past clients, and you can say dear and then first name, or dear Mr. and then set it up for the last name. But this is how you create it so that you can here we go. So we've got the options we have available are email, first name, and last name, because that's what we uploaded into our database. If you go on and upload other things into the database, you can use some of those other merge tags. But you would just copy and paste that right into the body of the email, and then every time it sees this little code, it's going to take whoever the email is going to, it'll take their first name and put it right where you've got that. So it's a really great way to customize it and make it look personalized to the person that you're sending to. This is really important, track opens. I'm not sure why you would not want to have that checked, to be honest with you. Possibly somebody has a reason for that, but I mean, I track all the openings just because, if you're not tracking it, you have no idea if it's working or not. And then there's a whole way to connect to Facebook. If you're familiar with Google Analytics, you can actually go in and do an advanced tracking on what's working and what's not working and that sort of thing. That's a free account you can set up on Google's website. Also, I was going to tell you, well, we'll talk about content later, but yeah, so all of these things, at the least, I would suggest having track opens checked, and then if you want to connect it to your actual office Facebook account, and kind of every time you send something out to past clients, it'll show up on your Facebook and that sort of thing. Pretty cool stuff. So again, this is it's really a choose-your-own adventure from this point forward. You can do a basic email. This is kind of the email that you might send out just with words and maybe a little information about what you're going for. The drag-and-drop editor is nice. I'm not going to go ahead and showcase that just because they've got a really good video on the front page of their website to show you that. Typically, what I like to use is just actually, I think I usually use the basic. There we go. Okay. So let's show you the difference here. The pre-designed is really fancy and will actually pop up with a lot of stuff already done for you. So it's going to show you all of this stuff, and then you'll be able to go in there and change the colors and change the pictures and that sort of thing. So that's very in-depth, but again, I mean, tons of options to choose from, a lot of ability to kind of jumpstart your creativity, and you might see something that just stands out. I think that looks pretty good, just because chocolate, who doesn't love it? So a lot of ideas to kind of jumpstart your creativity, and that's always nice to have. So I'm going to just, from what we're trying to accomplish here, actually, here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to show you how to do the. If you go down to Code Your Own, this is how we're going to do the email, and this is the link that was broken earlier. There we go. If you can see, there we go. All right, so you want to paste in code, all right? Now, this is where we're going to be able to paste in a code for a website or an HTML code that you might have. If you're working with OSI Express, for example, so if you're not set up with OSI Express or Easy Mortgage Flyers or whatever we're calling it for that day, please let me know. I mean, this is really easy. It's a free site that we offer to you guys. This is an ability for you to just create a lot of co-branded marketing materials. You've got the option to do open house flyers. I hope it didn't kick me off. I don't know what's here. You've got the ability to do open house flyers or promotional flyers. Once you open in the open house flyer, it's going to ask you where you at. This is so that it knows how to calculate the max FHA loan. Just a lot of, once we've got your account set up, it's just got a lot of really neat abilities for you to email out. You can co-brand with real estate agents for the open house flyers. You can do promotional materials either for yourself or for real estate agents. So I've gone ahead and once you're in here, you've got your information all set up. It's already got your name. It's already got your address, your phone number, your NMLS number. Your picture would be right here. It's already got the logo. So it's all ready to go. So all you really need to do is choose what you're looking to promote. So for instance, here's a 203K flyer that you could use, that sort of thing. So I think most of you are pretty familiar with this. Again, if you'd like to be a part of it, definitely let me know. Just a ton of options in here. This is also where they went and cut off our ability to do HTML code. So a lot of you have been saying, hey, what's going on? You know, this used to be something I love to use. So real quick, I'll show you how to sidestep that. So you've chosen your flyer. We're doing the reverse mortgage emails, so we've gone ahead and chosen this one. We're going to hit print preview. It'll do a little spin, pop it up. Yep, looks real good. Really excited about this one. And so you've always got here's where they're going to try to charge you. If you click on HTML email tool, it's going to say, well, you got to pay $15, $30 a month, something like that. Here's where you can save it. If you click on this, it'll just save your flyer straight to a PDF. That's great for printing and handing out to realtors, or for whatever you were doing with it, or just emailing out to people as an attachment. That will not embed into the body of the email. And then the other option is Craigslist. I also suggest that you use Craigslist because Craigslist is free and you can post advertisements and stuff like that on there as well. So I clicked on Craigslist. The code for this flyer that you need for Craigslist has been copied. Don't worry about where it's been copied. Just simply paste it into the description. So the only important thing you need to know right here is that once you copy it, you can't really do any more cut or copies until we paste it into the campaign builder. Otherwise, it'll disappear. So we're going to go in here. We're going to go click paste, and there it is. So that doesn't look like much to us, but I'll show you how it works. So I'll go ahead and do a pop-up preview real quick. Before you send anything, you always want to make sure that you preview it. I can't stress that enough because there will be a lot of different issues that come up with your emails. So this is how this one looks. And this is about the easiest one to do just because it's already pre-created. So you've created your flyer in 3 seconds inside OSI. You've built your campaign up. You've dropped it in here. Now, everything I did for this campaign up to the design portion is basically something you can just reuse over and over again. So theoretically, you could set up an email campaign with an OSI flyer or with an easy mortgage flyer in literally just like 30 seconds. You create the flyer. Let's go over it again. Create the flyer. Click on Craigslist. It copies it. You got to allow access. It puts it on your clipboard. You come over here. You paste it into here, right? And then it's ready to go. Again, once you're on the that's fun. Once you're on the let's try this again. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, it's just going to keep doing that. So probably just because we've already pasted in there. But that's just the code for the actual email that we're trying to send. And then, so I've looked at the pop-up test, but I also want to preview. I always want to send a preview test. Let me try it, kbrian@sagamoreMTG.com, and then we'll move on while we wait on that test to send out. And that's going to warn me, basically it's warning me that I sent from a Sagamore MTG account to a Sagamore MTG account, and if it's going to Gmail or something like that, it might actually flag it as spam. These guys are pretty good about you not getting flagged as spam, so that's excellent. So then we're going to move on to the next. The plain text is kind of important with this because basically if they don't receive HTML coded emails, which there are some email accounts like that out there still. So if they don't receive HTML coded emails, you're going to have to go in here and type something. So you'll just say something like, hi, I just wanted you to know about the new reverse mortgage program we have to offer. You know, please let me know if I can get you more information. And then, you know, put your information about who you are and blah, blah, blah. So that's going to be in the background of the email. And again, that's important with these ones only because the other ones that I'm going to show you here next actually will recreate something. The pictures may not come through, but at least the content will come through. But if you're doing the OSI flyers, if there's no HTML code available for them, it's literally going to send them a blank email, and they're going to say, what the heck is this? So at least this way you can create a nice little email expressing, you know, that you've got interest in describing the reverse mortgage program to them. Obviously, you'd want to put more than this. I just threw a little bit down here just to show you an example of how it would work. You want to leave all this in here because this is the canned spam information. You get a lot of questions about, you know, who are we allowed to email, who are we not allowed to email. Basically, canned spam is an act that protects your email. So if you're getting emails from someone that you don't want to receive emails from, you basically get that one chance and you're out kind of situation. So if you send an email to 50 realtors and 5 of the realtors don't remember who you are, once they get that email, if they don't care to receive it, at the bottom of the email there will be something that says, if you'd like to unsubscribe, click here. And I'm sure you've seen that on a lot of different emails that you receive. So that's just basically a way for them to click on it. It unsubscribes them. The best part is it actually removes it from your database. So MailChimp is going to track who you've had in your database. It's going to track who asked to be removed from the database, and it will track if you try to import that same person again. It's going to say, hey, you already had this person in there. They've asked to be removed. You can't add them to your database. So I think there's a way to sidestep that if they do say, oh, I'm sorry, I accidentally unsubscribed, that sort of thing. But they're going to, literally you can get your account shut down if you send it to, if you just buy a list of 1,000 people that you don't know and everybody tries to unsubscribe, you'll probably get a call from MailChimp saying, hey, what's going on here, guys? We need to figure out why you're using lists that you're not supposed to and that sort of thing. But it's just a really good way for you to know that who you're sending to actually wants to receive the information because they've actually gone through the process of not clicking on the unsubscribe button. So we've got everything. This kind of goes back through everything that we walked through. You did the list, who we were sending it to, we did the subject line, the replies to, the tracking, HTML, email. It's just kind of an overview of what's going on, preview and test. You can either preview and test from the design portion, or you can actually do it from right here. I already sent a test email. What I'll do is I'll come over here, and I'll show you what my Outlook is doing now. So here's where the test came through. It says test. This is actually what it will look like. It came from Sagamore Home Mortgage. In this case, I would suggest you put, Avi Bastagian, loan officer, or whatever. Put something that they'll know who it is. You can do Sagamore, but that sounds a little bit more corporate than personal. So, and then it says, the subject line. Test won't be there, obviously, on the real one. So there we go. So it came through. It was right in the body of the email, and it looks pretty decent. So here's the information that's going to go ahead and automatically populate down at the bottom. They're going to require you to put this on every email. I think if you try to delete it, it'll come back and say, hey, you need to add that. Here's where if they say, I don't want this stuff from this guy, here's where it'll say unsubscribe from this email, so you click on this. You'll notice in the to line it says test first name. So we had it set to send the first name on that line. So this is going to go ahead and say, if you're sending it to Barry, it'll say Barry. If you're sending it to Lou, it'll say Lou, that sort of thing. So really good. Just really easy way to do it. And again, once I click send right here, send now, that's going to send it to all 50 contacts in the database, or all 100, or all 1,000, or however many you've got in there. It sends an individual email to each of them with their name in that to line. And if you've done something personalized, it's going to add that in there as well. Now here's the best part. So you go back through. So maybe we go back to the design, okay? And maybe we go back to the design and we change what we've copied into here. So now we just delete everything. So we already did. We scheduled the first one. We delete everything there, and now we say, okay, well, how about we talk about this way? So, the purchase option is a great option that many people don't understand and they don't know about. So, instead of having them purchase a home and then do the reverse mortgage afterwards and have them have twice the closing cost, this is a way that they can do the reverse mortgage as a purchase. Obviously, it involves a considerable down payment, but if they were going to put that money down anyways, it's a really good option for them. Do the Craigslist, allow access, right? Pop this in there, all right? Go to confirm. So everything else stays the same. And now this one, so we just sent the first one as send now, and then this one we're going to say, hey, I want to schedule this. I want this one to go out on the 14th. Oh, that's probably not a good day to send things, right? And, I want it to go out at 10 o'clock in the a.m. on Eastern time. This is where you can schedule it, and then you click schedule. Boom. So that one's going to go out at that time. Then we go back, design again, right? Knock out all of this. And again, please test these as you do it, just because you want to make sure that you're actually getting the quality of email that you'd want. And always, always, always do the email to yourself test, just to make sure. So then we're going to do this equity one, right? So let's print preview, Craigslist, it's accessed you, it's ready to go. Jump over here, we paste it, go over here. Again, we're not really changing much. Maybe we're changing the subject line each time, but we're still sending it to the same people. We still want it to say it's coming from us. We still want to track it properly. We still want to do all of those things the way we're typically doing them. But then this time we're going to schedule this one for, let's go with, the end of the month. So this is just an easy way for you to knock out 3, 4, 5 emails that will automatically send for you at a time, and just you've knocked out a month's worth of emailing to your realtors in a couple of hours, if that, and then you're good to go. So now you're going to be top of mind with these people. They're going to go ahead and send you an email that I think they send it like the day before to remind you that you've got an email coming out. So if for whatever reason, something changed with the program, you can say, oh man, I need to cancel those emails. You can go back in here and actually cancel those. So there's going to be a place that will show you how to do that once you're on the dashboard. So that's one way to do the emails. And again, that's the OSI HTML coded version. Now we're going to jump in here and kind of take a look at how you can create emails from scratch and really create your own content, basically. Same stuff here. We created the, go back just in case we missed it. We're creating the campaign, regular old campaign, right? We're choosing who we're sending it to. Maybe this time we're going to send it to, the eProperty contacts or, whatever you've got. Again, this is, okay, so that was for realtors maybe. Maybe you set up a campaign for realtors, and this time we're going to send it out to past clients or vice versa, whichever way you like. But you'll want to go through and make sure on the new campaigns like this, you'll want to make sure that all this stuff gets filled in the way you need it. So this time I'm going to say 203K loans, right? So again, the name your campaign is just for you. You can go in later and look at all the different campaigns you've got. You just need to make sure you remember what you were doing with this. So let's do this. Your kitchen is ugly, right? Whatever. Something that will get their attention. From Sagamore Home Mortgage, reply to, all this stuff will stay in there for you, and then you can change it if you like. Tracking opens, obviously, is always important. I like to do the basics. You can go with the other stuff. It's just a lot more as far as this presentation is concerned. I just want to make sure I didn't get into anything that was going to really cause issues. So I like this one. It's got basically what you're looking at here is an overview of what you're going to be getting. So this has got your logo at the top. It's got the ability to drop in a couple of pictures and a little bit of information next to each picture. As I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and make sure nobody's got their hands up. Everybody seems good. Everybody seems good. So, no question there. Okay. So this is going to go ahead and, you may have it pop up with some information that you had done in the past. If it thinks it knows what you're trying to do, it'll try to do that sometimes. We're actually going to not do that because I didn't like what was going on there. So every little box like this can be edited. These two, you'll want to put something along the lines of, who you are or something like that. That's going to show up at the top. Right. I mean, you can put whatever you want. I'm not even going to pretend to be creative enough on this call to blow you away or anything like that. But you will want to leave this. This is basically their availability. If it comes through their email and it's blocked the pictures or something, they can view it in the browser, which is always a really nice option. You'll definitely want to do this. So this is where we're going to upload our logo, right? So we're going to go in here. And if you don't have a high-resolution logo, email me. I will send you one. We've got a few different versions, anywhere from high to medium to low-res. Depending on what you're trying to do at the time will really depend on which file you're using and whatnot. So I always like to go in here. For whatever reason, this makes it work a little bit better. So you want to save it. I went in to edit it. So if you've uploaded something and you only want to use part of the picture, you can do the crop functions and things like this. In this case, we're just using the full logo, so it's ready to go. You can change, you can customize a ton of stuff in here. And again, the alignment is pretty important, I think. Typically it's going to go ahead and align in the center, but go ahead and click it to put it in the center, and then save and insert. Does a little wajam, and there we go. Sagamore Home Mortgage. So up here we're going to say Is it time for a new kitchen? All right. They're basically what they're doing here is they're kind of giving you an overview of what needs to go in here. And you really don't want to send an email that accidentally still has this stuff in there just because it'll kind of be an oops. But if you want to use the larger of the heading, the smaller, the medium, the small, whatever. And then down here you can put a little bit of info. So I usually knock these out just because I like to make sure that the email all fits in the, the email platform that the person's opening it in is going to look a lot like this. You want to make sure it all fits in the little window here where they can kind of review what they're looking at. So that's where you want to make sure that the logo's there, and then the important stuff is really in the front of their faces, just in case they never actually open up that physical email, just so they get the information for it. So here, we'll just do something along the lines of your kitchen is, well, how about this? You love your home, but hate your kitchen, right? So we've got all of this extra space here. There's all kinds of things you can do with this. I'm going to go ahead and suggest that since it is kind of at the top, that we center it, left align, center, right align, in case you're not familiar. This is a lot like a Microsoft Word tool panel. So if you're getting in here and you've got any questions or anything like that, just give me a call. I'll walk you through all that stuff and help you. But I don't really, I don't try to get too fancy with it. Just kind of pop it in there like that. We're going to go ahead and insert an image. I did not test these images, so hopefully these work. But this will at least give you the idea of how this works. So, ugly kitchen, right? Upload. Here we go. Looks good. Save and insert. Pops that picture right in there. Go into this piece right here. And this can actually be a little bit tricky sometimes, depending on what your resolution on your computer screen is, or if you've got a widescreen monitor, sometimes it causes us some problems. So don't get too creative inside of here. So you may end up wanting to actually do this content piece as far as typing in information, typing in the words. You may actually want to do that inside of Microsoft Word, copy and paste it into here directly, just because these can be a little bit funky sometimes. And I think once you get working with it, you'll realize what's happening and what I meant by that. But so this is your kitchen. We'll just knock this out. Again, I'm just for the sake of time, we're just kind of trying to knock through this. I mean, we are already at 11:45. So again, this will fill all the way up to here. It's automatically going to, size it to fit this area. Now, if you remember when we were looking at the preview of this email, it had 2 pictures in 2 sections. Here's where you can add. So you're always going to have the ability to add or subtract content off the page in real time and kind of how you want to have it set up. So right here, it's going to say content with left image. Let's go ahead and do content with right image, okay? Oh, that was the one we were actually working on. Son of a gun. Okay, so then we're going to hit add. Sketch another one now, right? But I want to go ahead and make this content with right image. So it's going to flip it. See, this is really easy. I mean, it's, it pretty much tries to know what you're trying to do. I could have freaked out because I deleted what I just typed up there, but all I had to do was flip it back, and it gave me back what I had. So over here, let's just put something along the lines of, this could be your kitchen, right? Knock this stuff out, save now, and then let's insert an image over here. So I got, now, I wanted to talk a little bit about content. I like to snag pictures off of Google. You can type in certain phrases, and then instead of, let's go ahead and do that now. So let's say we go to Google, and we type in kitchen, right? So instead of seeing all of these listings here, we click on image, and now it's going to give us a ton of options for pictures. You just want to be careful about where you get it from if you're sending it out to a lot of people. You don't want to use copyrighted material, obviously, but there are a lot of things in here that you can use that won't be copyrighted. Typically, if they're trying to sell you a picture or something like that, it'll have their name across it, kind of in a light text, light color. Let's see if we can find one like that. But yeah, this is just a really, a really good way to snag some pictures for your pieces. And then, of course, if you're sending out something that you actually did a 2 or 3K on or something like that, you can go ahead and use the pictures you had from that. So right here is where you would want to kind of put something about the actual 2 or 3K. So you see, I just clicked on Edit. So if you hate your kitchen, let's talk about a 2 or 3K renovation loan. And then let's hit some. Okay, so maybe I want to do some bullet points. Bam, I hit the bullet point button. It gets it ready for me. So granite countertops, new floors, new appliances, call me today. Boom, right? So creativity really comes into play here, obviously. We probably have an ability to get this a little bit larger. So this one, we've probably got the ability to make this fit more along the size of this. If you can't get it to work out in this system, I can show you how to do it with just simply using Paint. Again, that's a little bit more techie, so contact me directly and we can work together on that. And then, of course, you created something and you're like, oh, I really hate this right here. You hit on that, and it's just going to take it away. Boom, it's gone. So we're going to do that again. Let's switch it to, let's see if we can, and it deleted it. But that's all right, because this will give you the idea of, basically what we're trying to do with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that picture back in there. So what I really want to show you is how these show up and, the final steps, obviously, to how you get this to actually send out properly and how you can kind of test what these are going to look like whenever you're looking at different options for sending. So down here, you'll walk through the setup of all this stuff whenever you first go through the setup at MailChimp. Again, this stuff you probably won't ever have to mess with again. So, you can link this to your Twitter or your Facebook or whatever account. I would probably suggest, the 2 main social media accounts that I suggest are LinkedIn and Facebook. Most people aren't really, unless you're extremely witty or you've got things that are truly going to be able to sum it up in 140 letters or characters or whatever Twitter has you do. Most people aren't really going to want to follow a loan officer on Twitter. That's just my opinion. If you've got something that's working, let me know. That's awesome. Great for you. But LinkedIn, is awesome. I mean, you can add all of your people. Title companies want to be a part of following or being friended with you on LinkedIn. Realtors love to have, say that they've got 500 plus contacts, so they're going to accept you if you ask to be friends with them. LinkedIn is a great way to just kind of post little things here and there and kind of keep people updated on what's going on in the market. And then obviously, again, it's all about staying top of mind. It's not so much about the content necessarily. The content will get you the business immediately, but staying top of mind will get you the business in the long run. So next step, plain text, can kind of show you what the breakdown will look like for that. And, that looks good to us, so then we'll go over here and we'll confirm it. Always, always, always do a pop-up test first. The pop-up test isn't as great of an example just because it's not going to show you how it'll show up in an actual reading pane for a email service provider, but you can switch over to mobile and you can see what your mobile ad looks like and that sort of thing. So this browser, apparently, it's not a fan of Internet Explorer. Chrome is always a good browser to use. As you probably know, a lot of our lenders and things like that won't let you use Chrome and things like that. So that's why I'm using Explorer. But that's a good way to see what it'll look like on their phone and that sort of thing. So we'll do a preview test, send a test email. We'll see what this one looks like. And then I also always suggest that my path that I handle whenever I'm doing these types of things is obviously I create the content, I send the preview, the test out to myself. All right, and then from there, I actually open it on my iPhone. So I go into my email and I open the email on my iPhone. And I'll be honest with you, the test that it just showed on the smartphone is not merely what it looks like on your actual smartphone. I mean, it actually looks really good when it comes through on a smartphone platform. These emails look really good because, I mean, obviously the screen's a little smaller, so the resolution is really nice. And they actually, they kind of conform perfectly to what you're trying to accomplish with that email. So I'm going to go ahead and check to see if that test has come through yet. Let's see. Okay. There we go. So we sent out an email that says your kitchen is ugly. You'll probably get a lot of people unsubscribe because you made fun of their kitchen, but whatever. So this is right here. Obviously I would suggest you put in some content about, why their kitchen probably looks like this. Maybe you've been in the house for a few years. You love this house. You love the location. You absolutely would never sell. You grew up in this house, whatever it is, but you're tired of this old kitchen and you're ready for an update. And then over here, this could be your kitchen, and then talk about the 203K. What can this loan offer them? Who qualifies? How would they know what they could do? Things like that. And then down here, it kind of talks. It gives what you set up. You actually set this up. This piece right here, you'll set up whenever you're setting up your account, and you can actually do multiple versions of this. So if it's a realtor, you were receiving this email because we've done business in the past together, or you've utilized me as a loan officer on some of your deals, or we were, whatever you want to say there. If it's past clients, you're receiving this email because you've closed a loan with Sagamore Home Mortgage in the past, and we'd love to help you do your next loan. Again, creativity is key here, and the biggest thing is that this is CAN-SPAM compliant. They can add you to their address book so it never goes to their junk. They can unsubscribe from this list, or they can update their preferences, in which case they can kind of do things as far as, saying when they'd like to receive things from you, or change their email that they receive things from you. It all updates automatically in your system, so the next time you go to send an email, it's just automatically ready to go. So in this case, we can send now. We can schedule for a later date. We can schedule for the later date, go back into here, change up the content a little bit. And this is one thing that you'll have that I actually minimized at one point along the lines. So this is your way to actually change the color scheme on the emails. So as you can see, there is like kind of a white background that'll come through. This is a way for you to kind of, that's beautiful, isn't it? This is a way for you to kind of go through and customize it a little bit more, and then you can actually create your own themes and things like that. Get colors from my site. You can actually direct it straight to the Sagamore site, and it'll create one of these color schemes for you. Remix the colors. It's just going to give you a whole bunch of new ones to work with. But again, that's this little pop-out right here. It may try to disappear on you while you're working, but it's always there for you. So that is kind of the easy, breezy walkthrough on how you can use something as simple as MailChimp. It's completely free. It's going to go ahead and give you all the analytics and everything built in, which is awesome. Just a really great way for you to keep in contact with your realtors. And my favorite thing about it is you can batch it. So you can do, literally you could do an email with every single OSI flyer in the system. You could knock that out, and have one send every week. You could knock that out in an hour or so, in my opinion, if you get good enough at it. And then it'll just kind of drip those emails out to your clients or your past clients or your realtors. And it's just, a way to stay top of mind with them, and hopefully churns up a little bit of business for you. You'd just be really surprised how many people do things, react, or act on a mortgage just because the person just sends them something at that moment. And I mean, they may have wanted to work with you, but somebody else sent them something. Maybe GMAC or Discover is big into the spamming on mortgages now. That sort of thing. They get something, and they're like, hey, I didn't know about that. And then they call that person, and I mean, you're sitting there kicking yourself because all you had to do was send them an email, or actually, give them a call or whatever it is, just to touch base back with them and make sure that they've had a chance to look over the refinances. Biggest triggers right now, I think, are discussing the changes in FHA. Some of your content that you can find, I love the Ripple content that lenders sent us. So the other day, RMS sent us something about changes to FHA. You can just take the body of that, you can kind of reword it into your own words, knock it out in an email, and say, hey, I hope you guys understand these changes that are coming along the path. Realtors want to know about those changes for their clients. Past clients want to know about those changes because maybe they've thought about refinancing or purchasing, and they want to make a jump on that before the changes come into play. Life of loan mortgage insurance alone is worth making a decision before that happens. So you can do that. You can actually get on Google. You can get on Google and you can sign up for Google Alerts. That is google.com/alerts, and you can use all kinds of keywords So if you want to know about things about FHA or 203Ks or reverse mortgages, you can sign up for it, and Google will actually forward you articles and things like that that are being put out there that are getting a lot of traction. And that way you don't have to search the internet for options for that sort of thing. It's right there. It comes into your email. You can kind of glance it over, read 3 or 4 different articles, and then sum up those in the body of an email and send them out to clients or realtors or whatever. I mean, again, the creativity is the biggest part. I'm just trying to give you the platform to use that creativity and go forward with it. So this is a lot like what Constant Contact will charge you, I think like $20 a month for, that sort of thing. So this is a really cool free way. You can actually, you know, it will have a little something about MailChimp at the bottom, which I've never really been upset about whenever I get emails and someone's using a free service. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Plus, if they're like, hey, this email is really cool, how did he do this, or how did she do this, you know, and they click on MailChimp, then they're just going to be glad that you pointed them in the right direction of a pretty nice platform to work with. So as far as content, Google Alerts is great. Information from the lenders, you know, shoot out things about products we offer. I mean, a lot of the realtors, you know, my parents were both realtors, and they always said the biggest thing that they liked when lenders would stop by is just giving them information on a certain product that they didn't know about. And I mean, if you want to send out an email about the about the 203K loans, for instance, and just say, hey, we've got a realtor presentation. We'd love to come in and bring it, you know, and show it off to you. Or if you want to give them, you know, information on the realtor partnership program, you know, whatever it is, there's just a ton of ways that you can get them to see the email, be interested in the content, and then request more information and say, hey, why don't you come by and do a presentation for me? So we covered, let me just make sure we covered everything I was looking to cover. Okay, so I think I hit everything that I was looking to hit on. If you've got anything, yeah, Lee Cox, I will help you with the flyer setup. I think once you get in there, you'll notice it's extremely easy. Don Copeland has his hand raised, and I don't know how long he's had it raised, but I'm very sorry. Don, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you here, and let's check to see if you can speak. Are you there, Don?
Yes, if you click that 36 after openings, would it individualize who opened it?
Don, go ahead and see if you can just type in the question in the chat here, and I'll go ahead and answer that for you. Does anybody else have any other questions? That echo was making my head spin a little. Anybody else with any questions out there? Again, I would love to help you guys out. If you get in there and you get stuck or you're having problems, I will be sending out this recording, so if you want to rewatch it at some point and see what's going on with that. If you had 2 monitors, you may have been able to kind of follow along and get that sort of thing, get the actual account set up as you were going. But let's see. All right, let me see. If you click the 36 after opens, would it individualize the opens for you? Okay, that's a great question. Let's see here. I think it will. There you go. So it actually starts to rate your users too, which is pretty cool. So here it's showing you exactly how many. Frank Beach, good for you, buddy. It'll actually go through and show you how many of these emails they've opened and that sort of thing. And it'll give your users power ratings based on how often they're looking at your material, how often they're actually opening, clicking through, things like that. So it's a really good way to figure out, hey, who's actually interested in what I'm sending out? And if they're real estate agents, then you know, give them a call, see who they're working with currently. I mean, if they're opening that many of your emails, they're either working with you currently or they're looking for a new lender or looking for a lender that actually informs them on things that they're trying to get accomplished. So that's you know, a really good way to contact that person, you know, figure out who the best person to contact is, take to lunch, stop in and try to schmooze a little, you know, play the game as it is played. But yeah, tons of different stats in here that you can go into and look at. Just, you know, just a lot of really cool stuff that we didn't even get into. And if you get in there and you figure something out that you just think is awesome, feel free to let me know. And then if you love the site, you need more room for contacts. Again, I think you get like 2,000 contacts or something for free. So if you get in here and you need more room for contacts, or you want to use some of these autoresponders or some of these advanced tools, it's really not that much. It may be like $10 a month or something to do all the advanced pieces in here. But you know, as it is the way that we were using it, completely free. This is actually the free account that I'm on right now. And other than that, just really glad to have you guys here. Oh, Don Copeland is going to save money, and I love that. He's ditching Lead Master after this, so he's going to save some money there, and that's awesome. Let me just go through and verify that I answered everybody's campaigns for iPhone. Not sure about Android. MailChimp has an app to monitor campaigns for iPhone. That is absolutely right, Colin. Thank you, buddy. You can download the app. I've actually got it on my phone. I haven't dug into it too much, but the app will actually, you know, you can, if you're bored and you're, you know, maybe you're on a bus, I don't know, maybe you take the bus, and you open it up, you can kind of check it out and see what's been going on with your email campaigns, and you may or may not be able to do anything as far as sending from there, but you probably can't. Okay, so again, let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here to help. And if you're not set up with OSI, send me an email immediately, and we will get you set up. I do ask that you send a headshot of some sort. All of the flyers work better with a little bit of a personalized picture on them so that they know who you are, and they can remember who it is that's sending them that. And other than that, one last check for questions. All right, guys. Well, have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully you get in there and actually do a little emailing. We'll have to talk about that, Don. I'm not sure. I mean, it's, you know, you'll just dump them in from a spreadsheet. And, I mean, if you've added to the spreadsheet, if you're talking about as in have like a, you can put a link on your website if you've got your own website or something like that, or you can put a link in your email that will have them be able to subscribe, if that's what you're talking about, yes. So you can go ahead and add that to your email or to your website so that people will automatically just be able to click on it. It goes into your database and that sort of thing. Now, as far as having different templated or different lists of your database and whatnot, not sure how that'll work out for you. Let me know if you do get into that. You may be able to have them kind of use a drop-down to choose which one they want to go to. But then other than that, pretty cool ability to find out who's truly interested for all of that stuff. So have a great weekend. Have a great day. Let me know if you have any problems or any questions.